Okay, we're live. Good evening, everyone. Grand DeLorean here to talk about the show that needs to be made, and if it is, and written properly, would be the best Disney Plus show in either the MCU or Star Wars. That's right, it's time for the Madisynn and Wong show. The only downside of this show is that it would be related to She-Hulk, which is a flaming pile of hot garbage. It really is that bad. There is an unfortunate pattern that the MCU and Star Wars have recently with Disney, where they have a really strong female character, which is not a bad thing. It's always good to have strong female characters. We've had them for decades and decades. Princess Leia in the original Star Wars trilogy, strong character. Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise, strong character. Heck, in the 90s, we had Xena Warrior Princess, and that show was super popular. So this is not something new to have strong female characters, but lately it's like we have to have a strong female character by making all the men around them incredibly stupid and ineffective. We've seen this on Disney with movies like Black Widow, where her dad character is like a buffoon and he needs to be rescued from the Russian prison, or in Star Wars, where they promoted Rose Tico at the expense of Finn, who could have been one of the best characters in Star Wars, but he got resigned to comic relief. And then I thought it couldn't get any worse with Obi-Wan Kenobi, where Leia is literally saving the day as a 10-year-old girl who looks like she's 7 and runs like she's 5. It's all right, Grando, calm down. Deep breaths. Anger subsiding. Okay. But none of those shows compare to the ridiculous and horribly written She-Hulk. For starters, She-Hulk works in a law firm with guys who are completely stupid and obnoxiously misogynistic. And then the other guys she meets are basically the same. They have even ruined her character background from the comics. In the comics, Jennifer Walters is kind of a shy, mousy girl. And I think she got shot and she was going to die. And the only way to save her was her cousin, who's the Hulk, who's Bruce Banner, gives her a blood transfusion. And she gains like a portion of his powers. She transforms into She-Hulk, and that heals her. And She-Hulk is like more outgoing and more confident. And at some points in the comics, she actually prefers being the She-Hulk and just stays in She-Hulk form as much as possible. Now, in this show, they had to change that, of course. So in the show, in the first episode, Jen and Bruce are driving a car, and Bruce is wearing this stupid MacGuffin device that prevents him from turning into the Hulk. And they get into a serious car accident, and Jen has to save Bruce, and she's pulling him out of the car. And in doing so, she gets some of his blood onto a cut on her arm, and she just turns into Hulk. Like, that's pretty lame. Couldn't we have gotten like something close to the comics, and maybe we could have gotten more mileage out of this story? If like, what if they had the car accident, and like during the accident, Bruce changes into the Hulk and runs off, and maybe even during his transformation, Jen gets even more injured in the accident by him turning into the Hulk. And then when he comes back to being Bruce again, and he goes to the hospital, he sees she's on life support, and they're getting ready to pull the plug because they say there's no way she's going to survive the injury she has. And so he gives her a blood transfusion. She becomes She-Hulk. It heals all her injuries. And then she's mad at him for doing this to her. And then he's racked with guilt. But then he takes her off to like Hulk boot camp, which he did in the first episode, to teach her how to be a Hulk. And we could have had like things where like she wants something, he won't give it to her, and she plays the guilt card on him. Or while they're doing stuff, she just lets him have it. Like, you know, kind of like Hulk did to Thor in the first Avengers movie after they took down that giant flying monster thing, and they land and they're just standing there. All of a sudden, Hulk just punches Thor and knocks him off screen. You know, they could have done something like that. It still could have been funny. Still could have fit into the confines of the characters, and that would have made sense. But no, we just have to like, she's the best. She's the best at everything, and the guys are all incompetent. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg for how bad this show is. These nonsensical plot points. Some other YouTuber I listened to said that this show must have been written by some crazy cat ladies who treat the script as a therapy session where they just ply up the worst tropes of men and women, because even the women characters don't act logically in this show. It's just garbage. I literally watched the first 3 episodes, and I never even giggled at any of the jokes or fourth wall breaks. Enter episode 4, though. Episode 4 is titled, Is This Not Real Magic? In this episode, we see this cut-rate magician performing a live magic show in some small venue with mostly empty audience, and his magic is lame and it's not impressing anyone. And he asks for a volunteer, and he picks this girl, Madisynn. This character, Madisynn, is played to perfection by an actress named Patty Guggenheim, and she is by far the best character on the show. Let's take a look at a quick clip from She-Hulk episode 4, where we're introduced to Madisynn.
And what is your name, young lady?
Madisynn with 2 N's, 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
Well, as the great Billy Shakes once said, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Ah! Donny Blaze!
Do the thing, do the thing, do it, do it, do it.
How about I try something with a little more heat?
Look at her face.
Please, 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 please. Come on, yes.
Donny Blaze!
FYI, these don't smell like anything. Ew.
Just the ew. She is so good at that. So she goes into this portal to another dimension, and then she ends up in Kamertage, where Wong's trying to watch a TV show, and then she spoils the show he's about to watch. So he gets really mad, and he's like, he knows who did it. So he decides to go to She-Hulk and help him as a lawyer to sue Donny Blaze. By the way, Donny Blaze, I think, the Ghost Rider character's name is Johnny Blaze. So I wonder if, and Johnny Blaze in the comics is a famous stuntman. So he'd be like, people would know his name. So I wonder if he's like the Donny Blaze character is trying to play off that name, and maybe this is how they're going to introduce, I don't know, Ghost Rider into this universe here. Anyway, so he knows who did it, because it turns out that Donny Blaze is kicked out of Kamertage, but I guess he kept the sling ring. So, and then Madisynn shows up in court during the trial, and then again in a mid-credit scene. And honestly, Patty Guggenheim and Benedict Wong have the best chemistry and the funniest bit in the whole show, and via the transitive property, the entire season so far. They have their characters down pat, and they could just make a show with them, have it be funny and awesome if they just play it right. Maybe they should hire me to help write it. I already have a basic premise for the show. You see, so when Madisynn was sent to the Diff Dimension, as she says it, she had to give 6 drops of her blood and make a deal with a demon to get portaled back to Earth. So we could open with a show with Madisynn and Wong like hanging out, watching some bingeable show like Stranger Things or whatnot. And, she could be really into it, and he could be like annoyed by inaccuracies or something like that. And then a demon shows up and announces that he's coming to collect, her to fulfill the bargain in so many days. And then Wong has to take her on a journey to find the right magic to save her, or some amulet that's going to protect her. Total odd couple, buddy cop kind of movie thing. And it could work if they just get some decent writers that know how to write grown-ups, that know how grown-ups actually act and talk and all that. I don't know. Maybe they do have some of these writers, because I'm kind of intrigued by Andor on Disney Plus, and I'm going to take a risk and watch the first 3 episodes with my son, and maybe we'll go live like tomorrow night or something and talk about that show. Should I be optimistic? Probably not. Am I setting myself up to be disappointed by another Star Wars show? Chances are good. But you know what? I'm a glutton for punishment, so I will be back to talk about Andor. As for She-Hulk, I gave up a third of the way through the wedding episode, which I think is episode like 5 or 6. And I'm not going to go back and finish that one. It's just too insufferable. I might watch whichever episode has Daredevil in it just to see if they ruin him as well. It's like watching a car wreck. You can't take your eyes off it. But yeah, we'll give Andor a try, and we'll be back to talk about that. And that's all I have for tonight, everyone. So have a good night, and I'll see y'all soon.